update is going to be very exciting. Before I start off this video, I would like to apologize for the horrible wind noise inside of the Jeep. Driving this Jeep anywhere, even if it's not windy, it's going to suck because the soft top on this is just constantly rattling against everything it touches. So I'm going to do my best here to actually talk to you guys and be able to have you hear me. Today we have some really exciting news about the Jeep. For those of you who haven't seen any of my videos or haven't subscribed to the channel, first of all, go ahead and click the subscribe button and make sure to check out some of my videos. But this is my 1979 CJ5 Jeep. It's got a 304 V8 under the hood with a 3-speed. It's my daily driver, summer, winter, whatever. I drive it every day. And basically, the motor is completely stock. From my knowledge, it's never been out of the Jeep. It's still the original motor. And it's pretty rough. It's pretty tired. It needs some work done to it. One of the major things that's wrong with it is that the rear main seal has just completely gone out. So I'm not allowed to park it in the driveway at my house. I have to have a piece of cardboard under it everywhere I go. So that was the main thing that I wanted to fix on this. I was thinking, you know, maybe this summer I would just pull the pan off, the oil pan, and just redo the rear main seal. But I started thinking about it, and during the winter, this thing runs like dog crap. I'm not sure if it's the carburetor's off, if the timing's off. I just put a timing light on it today, and everything with the timing seems to be normal. So I'm guessing it's probably just some carburetor tuning that needs to get done. But nonetheless, you know, the Jeep, according to the speedometer, has 65,000 miles on it. I'm not sure if that's necessarily true or not. It might have more, might have somewhere around there. But realistically, the motor's tired. It's a 40-year-old motor. It needs to be rebuilt. So my plan for this summer is to pull the motor out of the Jeep, completely rebuild it, do a couple little upgrades to it, and just make it a great little reliable motor. So I pretty much have everything planned out for the most part of what I'm going to be doing to it. So I'm going to go ahead here and tell you guys today what we're going to be doing to the motor in the Jeep and what all we got in store. Alright, so for starters, the first thing that we're going to be doing for the Jeep, I'm going to start from the top and work our way down. The top part is actually the most important and exciting part for me. I was planning on just doing a 4-barrel intake from Edelbrock and doing a 4-barrel carb on it. But the more I thought about it, you know, and the fact that, you know, I'm going to be driving it in the winter and I'm going to be doing all, you know, daily driving it, you know, so I want something that's going to be reliable and actually start and drive every single time. So I actually started looking a little bit, and one of our favorite companies is Edelbrock, and they're actually coming out with, well, they already came out with their ProFlow 4 direct fuel injection system, or multi-port fuel injection system for Chevy, Ford, some other brands, and I've been waiting for them to come out with it for AMC. Now, their ProFlow 4 setup is completely different from any other electronic fuel injection systems out there because this actually has fuel rails on it that spray the fuel directly into the intake valve, so you're not doing a throttle body injection system. And the other big thing about Edelbrock's ProFlow 4 setup is that it's all self-tuned. I have yet to see one like really bad review about this. It looks like most of them are just people that have, you know, a couple of issues trying to set the timing up. But overall, I have yet to hear one bad review about the Edelbrock ProFlow 4. So this is the absolute best thing for me to do because I'd like to go with a 4-barrel intake anyway. I was also going to go with HEI ignition, so I'm going to get a new distributor, intake, and a carburetor. And the ProFlow 4 setup comes with your throttle body, your intake manifold with the fuel injectors already set up in it, the fuel rails, everything. And it comes with its own distributor. So that's 3 things that I already needed on this system all in one. Of course, it's a little bit more expensive than adding in a 4-barrel intake, carb, and a new distributor. But in the long run, I think it's going to be worth every single penny. So we are going with a ProFlow 4 setup. Edelbrock says, I emailed them and I was talking to them trying to figure out when it's going to come out. And I was told that it's supposed to be coming out in late December here, which would mean either today or tomorrow. Today is the 30th of December, so it's either coming out today or tomorrow. I'm not sure how true that is, but I have plenty of time to wait because I'm not going to be rebuilding the motor until the summer. So that's the first thing we're going to be doing. Working our way down, we're going to be basically pulling the motor out of the Jeep, rebuilding everything, repainting everything, cleaning everything up. doing all the seals, all the gaskets. Moving down a little bit, we're going to be putting a set of headers on it. I was originally planning on doing long tube headers and a set of side pipes, but after thinking about it a little bit, I'm not sure how, you know, great that would be for driving it every day. I'm not so much concerned about the noise, more so just having the side pipes there. You know, they're going to be chrome and picking up all the water and salt from the road, and I'm not sure that'd be a great idea for, you know, long-term use. So more than likely just going to be doing shorty headers with the dual exhaust out to the back. Down from there, of course, redoing the rear main seal, redoing the oil pan, gasket, all that stuff. And then probably a couple little add-ons, you know, like valve covers and just some stuff to dress it up. But other than that, we're going to pull the heads off, send those out to get redone, have everything, you know, refaced. And by the time we get it back, we're going to fold everything back together, respray it, drop it back in, and it should run like a top. It's got a brand new transmission in it and transfer case for those of you who haven't watched the channel before. So basically the only thing that is going to be stock in the actual drivetrain is going to be the rear axle. It's an AMC 20 rear end, so not sure how long that's going to last. Hopefully it'll last me because, again, like I said, it's my daily driver. So we may be upgrading the rear axle later on. You know, but again, it's not going to be really, you know, a race car or anything like that. It's a 304, so you know, I'm not going to be pushing it or anything like that. It's just going to be a little daily driver. So I don't need tons of power. I just need something that's reliable. That's pretty much everything mechanical that we're going to be doing to the Jeep. One other thing that I am going to be doing to the Jeep, maybe this summer, it's not really a huge priority, but the radio did go out on me. For those of you who have been long-time members of the channel, you might remember that the dashboard of my Jeep leaked. I'm not sure, still not sure exactly what it is because I can't see with the radio in the way, but something up under the dashboard is leaking. I'm assuming it's probably the intake vent for the heater core. It's probably got a crack in it and it's been leaking, but I had an issue where it was leaking basically right on the transmission tunnel, and a couple times it leaked on the radio. One time it did completely shut the radio down. All the speakers were squealing, so I was able to luckily it dried out the next day and I didn't have a problem. But this time, unfortunately, it did kill the radio. It was one day when I was at school. I came out, it was raining, and the radio, all the speakers in the car were kind of squealing, and the car was completely off. So for some reason there's power going to the radio even though the key was off, so that's another thing we need to fix. But basically it completely fried the radio. Everything was done. There's no lights on it, anything anymore. So what I'm going to be doing is pulling the radio out of the dash. I'm going to put it in the center console because it's locked. I don't have to worry about somebody coming up and just ripping the radio out. So that's going to be all secured up. All the speakers, from what I can tell, are fine. None of the speakers got wet, so hopefully I'll be able to keep the original speakers in it without having to change any of that up. But other than that, everything with the Jeep seems like it's pretty good. You know, like I said, I've been driving every day. It's been fairly warm here in Ohio, so it's been running pretty good. The times when I have issues with the Jeep running is when it's really cold out. She does not like to run. It usually backfires and sputters, which is why I thought maybe the timing was off. But it looks like it's probably just a fuel issue, so I might go ahead and play around with the carburetor here a little bit, see if I can get it running decent, at least until I can rebuild the motor in the summer, because right now this just isn't working out for me. So other than that, that's pretty much everything we got going on. I will have an update here on the Deuce and a Half for you guys. We had a slight issue. I'm not going to spoil it too much for you, but we had an issue where we didn't have any oil pressure for a little while. So that video will be coming up soon, so make sure you guys subscribe to the channel to make sure you don't miss that. And with that being said, make sure you guys all have a great and safe day out there, and I'll see you in the next video.